raining a little bit, measured at 15 miles an hour. It's a cool and a partly cloudy day. No rain in the forecast, however, and Iowa is thankful for that. And the barefooted kicker, Todd Schlopy. He has it teed up now for the Wolverines of Michigan, dressed in their road whites. And beat now to bring it back. Robert Smith is number 2, and number 31 is Ronnie Harmon. Harmon deep in the end zone, downs it right there. It'll come out to the 20. And Chuck Long will put the Hawkeyes to work. And, of course, Long, the leading passer in the nation right now. His fullback, the converted tailback, Owen Gill. Ronnie Harmon's his #1 weapon. And he's got Robert Smith, the burner, on the outside. His control receiver, Bill Happel, his daddy played for the Hawkeyes in the 50s. His tight end's a good one, number 34, Jonathan Hayes. So those are the weapons the Hawks will be working with when they come up 1st and 10 against a defense that may be the most complex in all of college football, the Michigan Wolverines. They camouflage and they disguise their sets. You never know what they're going to throw at you. First down is Harmon from the tailback spot. Got perhaps a yard. Now the offensive line. Young Herb Wester forced in a few weeks ago because of an injury. Bill Glass works next to him. Mark Sendlinger, also a wrestler here for the Hawkeyes, and a very tough guard, Kelly O'Brien, and their veteran tackle, Mike Haight. For important yardage, when they run off tackle, look for them to go behind Haight. It is now 2nd down and about 8.5 coming up. Harmon again. And that's going to leave them, Errol, with a tough 3rd down as we take a look at some of these defensive stars. Mike Hammerstein, he'll be all over from defensive tackle. Al Sinsich, the middle guard. Kevin Brooks, extremely quick inside. Now Jim Scarcelli, he is one of the outside linebackers who lines up on the line of scrimmage. Tim Anderson, a linebacker who will blitz. Mike Mallory, whose brother is back there in that secondary. And Rodney Lyles, who intercepted 3 of Bernie Kosar's passes earlier this season. Here's a tough situation. They put it up on 3rd down. Under heavy pressure, gets away from it. Brooks is on the pursuit, and they bring him down. Defense is tough, Era.
A great job by Kevin Brooks. One of the interesting things that I would like to point out, Hayden Fry was very conservative on this first drive. The wind is a definite factor, and field position could be very important here. I don't think Hayden Fry wanted any mistakes in the early drive because this is a pivotal and key game.
Costrovala back to punt for the Hawks, a left-footed group. And you can see the difficulty he had with that wind. And Michigan fumbles the punt. And there's the turnover to the Hawkeyes inside the 50.
The very thing that Bo Schembechler said he didn't want to happen. Turnovers. They could hang in this game if there were no turnovers. Their defense had to play well. This is a big error right off the bat on the opening punt.
Gilvani Johnson fumbled it.
And the Hawkeyes recover, and it's a big break for the Hawkeyes.
And young Craig Clark, backup tight end, got down there to fall on it. It's at the Michigan 48-yard line. And now Chuck Long brings them up. And Arrow will find out if Hayden is still going to be conservative. He's in the attacking zone now. He can open this up a little bit.
He sure can. There he is, rolling right up.
And right away, he hits Robert Smith on 1st down, out of bounds at the 40-yard line, short of a 1st down, but it's a good 1st down.
Robert Smith, the guy that caught 3 touchdown passes last week. Here's an isolation on him. He just drives right straight up the field. His long rolls out, turns outside. You see there, number 30, Cochran, who's a great defender for Michigan, gave him just too much of a cushion there.
Now, J.C. Love Jordan, you can see number 15 coming to the bottom of your screen. He just carried the play in from Hayden Fry, and Robert Smith comes out. Now they go into the I formation. Harmon. Close. But he is stopped short of a 1st down again by that Michigan defense. And here's that secondary that comes up to press so well for Bo Schembechler. Garland Rivers is back at one corner. Here's Brad Cochran. He has marvelous speed back there. Dieter Heron, and of course the very courageous young man, Doug Mallory, because he probably shouldn't even be playing. But he has been hanging in, and you'll see him go out frequently. And Eric Campbell, number 5, will also be used back there. Now this is 3rd and about a yard right here. Harmon got the first down inside the 35. Got down to about the 32-yard line. Mike Mallory, number 42. And boy, when you talk about the Mallorys, Coach, you go way back with their daddy.
All right, here's another look at it. You see it's well black. Mallory, number 42, comes in, tries to spin back to the outside, but Ronnie Harmon picks it up very easily.
First and 10 for Chuck Long and the Hawkeyes. Check with me is the call, and that's what he's barking out now. And they fumble the snap. Loose ball, Michigan recovers.
It appeared that Chuck Long pulled out of there early before he had the ball. And, of course, that turnover is a big break for the Wolverines. They've matched it. Number 66, I believe, Mike Hammerstein got the ball. Let's take another look. Right there, it comes free. It comes right to Mike Hammerstein, and the Wolverines have the ball. We'll be back in a minute.
One of the Wolverines is their young quarterback, Russell Reen, only his second start. Jim Harbaugh went out with a broken arm a couple of games ago. Good blocking fullback in Eddie Garrett. And, of course, his number one runner is the tailback, Rick Rogers. Also weapons for him. He has Steve Johnson. And he has Vince Bean, very talented also. And here they come, first and 10, and we'll see what Russell Reen does as the two teams exchange turnovers here in the early going. Bean comes in motion. And Reen is sealed up.
Very strange. There's obviously an error on the backfield.
Now, these are the blockers up front, John Elliott and Doug James, and a center who has had an all Big Ten year. Art Balutis. Bob Tabacino is over there at the other guard. And the big tackle out of Norman, Oklahoma, Clay Miller, one who got away from Barry Switzer, out there blocking for Bo Schembechler right now. 2nd and 11 for Reen. Good time. Knocked away and out of bounds. Number 41, Mike Stoops, whose brother Bobby Stoops was a big star here with the Hawkeyes, comes up with a play. And now that defensive front. Here's Mike Hooks. He'll jump off and work as a linebacker, too, and take receivers. Paul Hufford strong. Jeff Drost, the 275-pound nose guard. George Little, extremely quick. And another man who will drop off and also pursue, Dave Strobel out of St. Paul. Good linebackers on this Hawkeye team. Kevin Spitzik and all Big Ten All-American Larry Station. The Wolverines are now watching for a 3rd and 11. Bo Schembechler said last night he was going to get Reen to throw early to try to loosen up this Hawkeye defense if he can. Under fire, throws the screen, gets it in the hands of Garrett. Garrett, however, will not get the first down. Schembechler will have to punt, and he's got a good one.
But he has loosened up the Iowa defense. I know the brain trust, as they were talking about it, we were expecting Bo Schembechler to run the football. All that was is a psychological ploy because Bo does want to run the ball, but he did throw twice, and he has loosened up the Iowa defense.
Now we have Monty Robbins, who could eventually break the Michigan punting record, matched against the speedster for Iowa. Now Robbins has got some wind coming in behind him. Robert Smith set inside the 20 at the 18 and brought down right there. A beautiful tackle by Al Bishop, a backup cornerback who got down on the coverage. And so we're going to be back. We're in the first quarter here at Iowa City. It's from south to north here at Kinnick Stadium. Bad field position for the Hawkeyes. The last time Hayden Fry had it down here, he was extremely conservative. And Hayden now going over his short list on the sideline. He'll shuttle wide receivers. He has brought the passing game to the Big Ten along with Mike White over at Illinois, and they've brought a great deal of excitement to this conference in the process. Now it's 1st and 10. This is Harmon.
I really think Hayden wants to be conservative because he'll wait for the second quarter wind. The wind is a definite factor, and he doesn't want any turnovers, any opportunities for Michigan to score by an error on his team's part.
So difficult, Arrow, when we were watching the films and listening to Hayden and his assistant coaches to read this defense. He has Chuck Long, a lot of check with me's at the line of scrimmage as he looks out, especially wants to see where the Mallorys are. It is 2nd and 9 now. He'll throw in this situation, and he comes to Ronnie Harmon. But again, they're going to be far short of that first down.
The key on that, Brent, is the fact that Michigan camouflages its coverages so well, it's hard to read, as we witnessed yesterday as we were looking at the film.
Ronnie Harmon, a few weeks ago when we were here, he tallied 3 touchdowns against Illinois. He has 10 for the season. The only man who's rushed for more is Big Keith Byers of Ohio State. We'll see him next Saturday in Wisconsin here on CBS. 3rd and 5 now. And what does Hayden have in mind? Harmon cut back. His athletic skill takes over. Out of bounds at the 31-yard line, but he has the first down. Harmon does it alone.
No question about it. Individual effort on the part of Harmon. They had him checked back there. He was not going to get the first down, but his individual quickness and speed and ability to see where the hole might be came around the corner and picked up the first down.
Have to constantly check with that secondary to see who Bo Schembechler even has on the field. And, of course, Gary Moeller is his defensive coordinator. He once was the head coach down at Illinois. His son is one of the linebackers on this team right now.
This Iowa team can move the football. They've got a lot of skill.
Up the middle they come with Owen Gill. Another first down out to the 45-yard line. Garland, Rivers, and Eric Campbell come over, so that time they were conscious of Harmon.
Well, Bo Schembechler said this is the best tandem in the Big Ten, Gill and Harmon, and you see a beautiful block play. Mallory, number 42, is blocked. Gill comes into the secondary, and of course, little fellow there, number 5, believe it or not, is Eric Campbell. He's only 5'10", 163, along with Bill Glass.
So Bill Glass opens the way that time. Puts that block that the coach told you on Mallory. 1st and 10 again. Ronnie Harmon. Oh, he dances for 5 yards. He's dangerous, isn't he? And there was Andy Moeller, the son of the coach, coming up to make the hit. And now Quinn Early, number 1, replaces Apple as the Hawkeyes continue to shuttle play.
Second down, tied at midfield.
Gill.
Owen Gill.
One of the unusual aspects of Hayden Fry's attack, and he's used it forever, is a stand-up tight end, number 34, Jonathan Hayes. Came about when he was down at North Texas State, and he ran out of tight ends, and so he put a wide receiver in there who was uncomfortable coming out of the 3-point stance. Well, the tight end was able to read coverages, pick up blitzes very well from that stand-up spot, and so Hayden and his assistant coaches have used it ever since. And now you'll see Hayes go over to the left side. And number 34 will split out even a little bit in this sequence as they go to a slot man, and that, of course, is Harmon. Plenty of time. Dumps it to Gill. First down. Down to the Michigan 41-yard line.
Another individual ability by Long, scrambling out to the side and having enough time to throw the football. Here it is again. A close-up of Long, drops back into the pocket, and is flushed out of the pocket by number 66, Mike Hammerstein, and then throws the ball for a first down to Owen Gill.
Bo Schembechler furious over at the sideline. He was all over one of the officials over there. Now he has calmed back down. That was the reaction of the crowd. 1st and 10 at the 41. Long calls the play at the line of scrimmage. Comes with Harmon. Breaks a tackle. Another one. And gets inside the 35.
You think that wasn't individual running? You can see what a great back Harmon is. This is what Bo Schembechler said last night. He said, we've got to pursue that ball because we know that Harmon's going to make people miss. There was a classic example of it. Take another look at it from ground level. Gives the ball to Harmon. Watch him weave and dodge in there. He makes Rodney Lyles miss. He is really a great back.
5 minutes and 50 seconds to go, first quarter, Iowa City. The Hawkeyes and the Wolverines are scoreless. 2 of the 4 teams tied for first in the Big Ten. The Hawks left guard, Bill Glass, jumped offside on that situation. He beat the count, and with 2nd and less than a yard, that's a very important penalty against the Hawkeyes, who have already turned the ball over once here today. And because of the change in down and distance, Hayden Fry will use the opportunity to run in a new play.
Dead ball. Ball start. Offense. Second down.
5 yards. Illegal procedure.
Tom Quinn giving you that call, and the rest of the gentlemen he's working with here in this Big Ten game. Now it is 2nd and 6 for Long. Draw with Harmon. And you could see how number 80 Rodney Lyles stayed right with it, made Harmon commit himself.
Rodney Lyles did do a great job. Stayed right with him. And Harmon did everything he possibly could to fake him out, but didn't get the job done.
There's a yellow flag down there at the 35-yard line.
Flag fell out of his pocket. No flag.
All right. I'd like to hear more of that in football. Accidentally, no penalty. Especially in the NFL. Fewer penalties make better games.
Ought to put a zipper on that pocket.
You got that right. Third down coming up right now. Harmon up the middle. He is very close to that first down. Right near the spot. But even if he doesn't get it there in this situation, I would guess that they would buck for it and try to.
Right, he's short, just not by much, but I'm sure Hayden's going to go for it. It'll be interesting to see how Michigan deploys under this circumstance.
And the Hawkeyes go to a timeout with 4th and less than a yard. We'll see what they do, and he needs a big game out of that squad. We got a big one going here.
Look for a bait call. In other words, coming up the line of scrimmage with Iowa, trying to draw on a long count the Michigan team outside. And I'm sure that's what Coach Moeller was telling the Michigan team. They are not deploying in a goal line situation.
They hammer right away up the middle, and they have the first down.
Well, they reversed the process. They went on a quick count that time.
Georgia Vanderbilt underway. Let's go back to Pat O'Brien for an update, Pat. We are tied up, too, but it's scoreless here, Pat. And right now, 1st and 10 for the Hawkeyes. The ball on the Michigan 31-yard line. It is Harmon carrying the ball for the 11th time in the first quarter.
I had no idea, as that statistic was passed on to me, that he'd had the ball 10 times. Now it's the 11th time. He's going to set some kind of record in that area, but I would give the ball to Harmon, too, if I got into that kind of a game.
Well, the writers used to ask John McKay, how come you can have O.J. Simpson carry the ball that much? And what'd John say? What are we, paying him by the hour or something?
I don't want to talk about O.J. Simpson and the Trojans.
2nd down and 8 now for Long. He blitzes back, approach set, and here comes Owen Gill, and he'll try to break it back the other way. Fumble, Michigan's ball. And it was whistled down. You cannot pick up a fumble like in the NFL. That was Brad Cochran who caught it on the bounce. And that would be the 2nd fumble. But wait a minute. They had whistled the play dead. There's no change of possession here.
He called him down on the play. And again, another evidence of the hole was completely blocked off as Gill was trying to run to the right. And the option running, the ability to find daylight, was the example of what Gill did. But this time he was hit. Watch here as Long gives the ball to Gill. And then he sees that there's no hole there and goes clear back against the grain. This is a dangerous kind of runner.
3rd and 6 now for Long, and a break for the Hawkeyes. Middle guard was coming quickly. There's a penalty flag down. Pass is completed to Robert Smith, who's out of bounds at the 16-yard line. But the penalty marker was thrown. And it was the middle of that Michigan defense which broke. Whether they were drawn, we'll have to wait and see. They were not. Of course, the Hawkeyes will take the first down in this situation. Ball down at the 16-yard line. 3 minutes and 12 seconds. This is a game that for Michigan could mean a whole season. If they can upset the Hawkeyes here in Iowa, Bo Schembechler thinks they can roll into Columbus without another loss. Should they lose here, he's very concerned about the rest of the season. Harmon is stopped at the 15. Mike Hammerstein, who recovered that fumble here earlier in the first quarter, he came in and helped plug that hole.
One thing you can say about this Michigan team, they're making them go the hard way. They're not giving anything cheap, just exactly the way this Michigan team has played through many, many years under the direction of Schembechler.
Now, of course, Long, a dangerous passer. They use Harmon out of the backfield. The running game has been bottled up. They put Harmon over on the wing. They roll in that direction. And Long will keep it. Inside the 10-yard line to the 9. He'll have a good 2 yards to go for the first down and a third down situation.
I think it's interesting, Brent, that with about 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go in this first period, that Iowa's had the ball over 11 minutes. And still there's no points on the board.
Hayden Fry will go with his 2 tight ends in this situation. Hayes and Flagg, and yes, they will both stand up, if you're wondering. Long on the option. Short of the first down era. And that ball appeared to come loose down there, but it was down.
That's twice on this drive that has occurred. But, of course, the ground cannot cause a fumble.
Schembechler not happy with that one.
Bo's letting them know he's here.
And they're going to mark it for the first down. And that's what Bo has been complaining about all quarter, is the spot where they're marking the ball against him. Bo checking the clock. He sees 1:20 to go. Tim Sennett will come in. They'll add a little power. This will be their power eye that they'll show us now with an extra blocking back. There he is.
They'll run action passes, power plays, options off of this look.
Harmon inside the 5.
Oh, what a great move he put on. It looked like he was going to be stopped for 2-yard loss, and he really has got moves. He dodged back to the outside and picked up yardage on the play.
Doug Mallory bringing him down. He has carried 13 times for 43 yards. Number 31, Ronnie Harmon, who, of course, is out of Bayside Queens High School. His brother, Kevin Harmon, is now a backup tailback, and he can also play a little quarterback for you. This is 2nd down and goal for the Hawks. Here's Ronnie. Touchdown. Ronnie Harmon's 11th touchdown of the season. And now Tom Nickel will attempt the extra point. And it's no good. And Iowa now sits on a 6-0 lead.
Here's a replay from the end zone. Watch him pick the daylight. He's going to the right and comes clear back against the grain to find the daylight. He has great perception and vision. He's a tremendous football player. And we'll be right back.
Missed the extra point. 24 seconds to go. First quarter, Iowa City, the Hawkeyes, leading the Wolverines of Michigan 6-0. And there is Tom Nickel, who must be talking to himself. He's generally perfect on those extra points. He'll be kicking off, and a deep man is the 5'6" Jamie Morris. And New York Giant fans know his brother, Joe Morris. In fact, he had a couple of brothers that played up at Syracuse. Bo Schembechler saw the 5'6" Jamie Morris walk through the door of his office, and he said, "You sure you don't want to go to Syracuse?" But he's been a little bit of a water bug for him. This one will be short, and here comes Morris. Bounce by him at the 10. He's got to go after it and out of bounds. So So Jamie puts Schembechler and the Wolverines in the hole inside the 10-yard line on that one.
Brent, that was quite a drive by Iowa because they did it into the wind. And when they turn around in the second quarter, you'll see Long throwing that ball downfield.
And you know, of course, near the conclusion of the game, you and I will select a Chevrolet most valuable player of this game from each of the teams. And more important, Chevrolet will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the general scholarship fund of each school. So here come the Wolverines, and the young quarterback back in the hole again. No good field position for Schembechler here. They're back on the 8-yard line. Rick Rogers hit hard by a savage Iowa defense on the pursuit.
I think that was Station that put that hit on him. Larry Station, their leading tackler, a real hard hitter. Looked like there was going to be a little daylight, but boy, did he pop through there.
That touchdown seemed to pick up the Hawkeyes emotionally.
I was impressed with the drive into the wind, and that's the end of the first quarter.
And we'll return after this commercial break and a word from your quarter by the Hawkeyes. 13 minutes and 6 seconds of possession, and now their very loyal crowd is about to become the 12th player. The wave is underway, and it's going to be difficult for the Wolverines to hear young Russell Reed. And Bo Schembechler is so concerned about how his sophomore quarterback will handle this pressure. Rogers in a hole near the 15. And we get word of another update. Here's Pat O'Brien.
Okay, Brent, Notre Dame continues its fundamental problems. They fumbled on a punt return, then South Carolina drove 31 yards. Alan Mitchell took it in on a 1-yard sneak. In the Orange Bowl, Coach Faziel's problems continue. Quarterback Bernie Kosar, a 16-yard touchdown to Stanley Shakespeare. The Hurricanes are up 7-0. Back to you, Brent.
Two teams with big problems, Notre Dame and Pittsburgh. We'll continue to track those stories. Right here, it's Michigan with its hands full. 3rd and a long 4 for young Reed. They blitz. Complete. Tough pass for the first down. He came out of there beautifully.
That was a big play for the Wolverines. Otherwise, they were going to have to kick into the wind and give Iowa field position. Reed was very patient here as he went back into the pocket. He took a look around. He's getting pressure right there, and he throws the ball to Sim Nelson for the first down. Very important first down for the Wolverines.
Gets him out to the 23, and young Reed passes a critical test here as we get underway, and just listen to that crowd coming at him. A delay with Rogers. And beautifully up from that secondary is Keith Hunter, number 14. He's out of Newark, New Jersey.
Along with Mike Hooks, left defensive end. Boy, they did a good job. Good tackling.
And we just saw that update, of course, that touchdown pass to Stanley Shakespeare, and you saw that one too. Notre Dame fumbling the punt. Missouri leading Kansas State by 7. And Georgia has now gone back ahead of Vanderbilt, 14-7. North Carolina has kicked a field goal against State. Michigan using more motion than they showed last week. And they come with the fullback, and that is the strong blocker, Eddie Garrett, number 32. He gets out to the 30-yard line.
He's a fine runner and also a very good blocker. You'll see the hole open here. They put a double flanker out to the left side. Watch a nice hole open up right there, and Garrett gets it, spins off, and comes upfield for some pretty good yardage.
Cap Peterson, who has been injured the last couple of weeks, number 50, comes in to the middle of that defensive line. They fill 4 down linemen at Russell Reed. 4-man rush, and everybody else drops back.
Oh, he got it.
They got him right on the sideline. He went over there to Vince Bean.
Bean has started 43 games for the Wolverines. Been a great receiver for him. In the first game that he played as a freshman. Here's another look at it. Again, I'm impressed with Ream. He stays in here. He waits. He's patient. He gets pretty good protection right here. Now he waits. Now he delivers, even though he was staring his receiver down. Beam does get it right there. 1 foot. It's in. Officials right there to make the call. Of course, Schembechler was there to challenge him if he didn't.
So 1st and 10, and young Russell Reen out of Illinois is bringing him on. This time he comes right back with Garrett across the 40. Plays, of course, are all called from the sideline, and they will shuttle in the messengers, generally using wide receivers to bring them in.
Michigan's had problems with the offensive line. Bo said that in the early going they knew they were going to be not quite as strong as they had in previous years. But in addition to that, they've had a number of injuries to their starters on the offensive side of the line.
2nd and 7 now for Reen, who has been throwing the ball in 2 critical situations and been successful. They bring motion. Tailback Rogers. 1st down and across midfield. And now the Hawkeyes are back on their heels, and it is because Reen has been able to pass the ball on this drive.
Right, and Brett, in addition, they're running this football against a team that only gives 92 yards a game on the ground. Now watch here, there's a great blocking at the hole. Right there, Rogers pops right through. He's just barely is tripped up right there. Otherwise, he's going for much longer yardage.
Yeah, that was Bob Tabacino, the strong guard, number 77, who collapsed in on Jeff Drost. They double-teamed the middle guard that time. They got the 275-pound Drost out of there, and they came up into that daylight. 1st and 10 now. Ball on the 48. Most impressive drive so far for the Wolverines. Garrett down to the 45-yard line and across it. Georgia and Vanderbilt. There's fireworks. Let's go back to Pat O'Brien.
Brent, in Athens, freshman quarterback David Dukes fakes and hands off to sophomore fullback Andre Smith, who takes it in 47 yards for the touchdown. The Bulldogs lead 21-7. Let's go back to Brent Nera.
Them dogs, Pat. Here we are now just inside the 45-yard line. It is 2nd down, and Russell Reen has shown Bo Schembechler a lot if he can keep this one going. Here's Rogers. Got 3 yards. Short of the 1st down, Dave Strobel. On the stop for the Hawks.
Wolverines are going to come up with another tough call here. It's going to be 3rd and about 4.
What a year.
Well, he's done a remarkable job here at Iowa. Unbelievable when you look at it. Before he came in, they hadn't had a winning season in years. You see Carol Burton there talking to Rogers.
So they've come with a new tailback as Rogers goes over to the sideline. Fake by Reen. Intercepted. He threw to pressure that time. And Devon Mitchell, number 21, came up with the interception and got it down to the 40-yard line.
Great defensive play on the part of the Hawkeyes. And puts them in great field position. Let's take another look at it. We'll see right here is Devon Mitchell, number 21, in perfect position. You see Ream goes back. Here's the crossing end. He tries to hit him, throws the ball. Mitchell right in front, robs it away, and it's just an outstanding job because both the strong safety and the free safety were right on top of Sim Nelson, the tight end, in anticipation of that play.
When you have a young quarterback, frequently he won't know how to look off the primary receiver. He'll force the ball to the man he wants to go to all along. In that situation, double coverage. Now Chuck Long hands off, and Harmon cuts back inside the 40-yard line, got down to the 39. We've got 9:57 to go in the 1st half, and the Hawkeyes lead the Wolverines 6-0. A touchdown by Ronnie Harmon, as the Hawkeyes dominated the 1st quarter here in Iowa City, and then Tommy Nickel missed the extra point. So it is 6-0 right now. These are 2 of the 4 teams tied for 1st in the Big Ten. The other 2, Ohio State and Illinois, all in at 3-1. Illinois goes into Ann Arbor to play Michigan next week. Long stumbles. Play is down right there at the 44-yard line, and this will be a tough 3rd down.
The thing that Michigan did not want to have happen is to have turnovers that they expected to stop this potent offense. And, of course, they've already had 2, an interception, a fumble, and they know that they're going to be in trouble if they continue with that act.
Here's Tommy Nickel. He is warming up on the sideline. This is third down and about 12 yards to go. Ball is back on the 42. Long wants to go deep over the middle, and he's got it. First down for the Hawkeyes. Bill Happel, a fine control receiver.
Beautiful job by Long being patient. Michigan tried to blitz Long by zoning instead of man-to-man coverage, and he picked them apart. Watch here. Long comes back into the pocket. Michigan is zoning off. There is no one in between. The secondary comes up. You see Eric Campbell, number 5, comes in to make the play. Happel gets the reception.
21-yard gain against a tough Michigan defense on 3rd and 12. Now Robert Smith comes over in the slot, and they run Owen Gill to the 20-yard line, picking up 2, so he will have 2nd and 8 there at the 20. Plenty of time to go in the second quarter. 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Such a dangerous offensive team. If you're thinking Harmon, Long will throw the ball. If you're thinking a little bit about the pass in Harmon, he can always come at you with Owen Gill. It is a very well-balanced attack. A cliche in football, but it's true about this team.
A few weeks ago, we saw this team beat Illinois, and the Hawkeyes beat the Illinois on the ground. Last week, they threw 4 touchdown passes against Purdue. So they are a versatile, outstanding offensive team.
He throws here. Got Happel again. Out of bounds at the 12-yard line.
I think another thing that most people did not know is that Long did and was nursing a bruised shoulder. That shoulder is well, and he's really humming the ball. Here's another example of it. Just a straight down pattern for Happel. He turns out, you see number 13, Rivers is too far off of him, and Long delivers.
So Long, 6 out of 6, 58 yards. And they can get a first down in this sequence without scoring if they get just inside the 2. Harmon slips down at the 15-yard line. That cost them 3. Well, that's one way to stop it.
I think his mind was working faster than his feet that time. He saw the daylight. He wanted to cut it back and went to stop, and the traction is so good on these synthetic surfaces that he fell.
Chuck Long is a very big story here in Iowa, and it's going to get bigger as this season progresses because he can declare himself for another year of eligibility in the Big Ten, or he can turn professional. And I said to Hayden, well, what are you going to tell the young man? He says, Glenn, if they want to make him a millionaire, I might become his agent. Here's 2nd down, and Long is back to throw it for the 7th time. Puts it away. Nobody was open, and he steps inside the 15-yard line. Al Sinsich over him on the middle guard. How are the Irish going to do against South Carolina? Here's Pat O'Brien.
Okay, Brent, Arrow's going to like this one. Notre Dame has come back. Now, watch the block right there and the extra effort as Alan Pinkett charges in to tie the score. It's 7-7 in South Bend. Let's go back to Brent and Arrow.
All right, Arrow. Jerry Faust under a great deal of pressure. Rumors again swirling. But I can truthfully say that you're not going back to coach, right?
You got that right.
Let me correct the mistake I made. I said Illinois was tied with the other 3 teams. It's not Illinois. It's the Boilermakers of Purdue. How could I forget the Boilermakers? Here we go now. 3rd down and 11. It's Harmon. Stopped right at the line of scrimmage.
Well, they didn't want to take any chances, apparently. They want to take the 3 points, get the 10 points on the board, which requires 2 scores. And he'll have the win with him. Shouldn't be a big problem.
Except that he has missed an extra point already here this afternoon. So
he has missed an extra point.
He'd be happy to hear you say that.
Yeah,
but
it was
keep in mind that they could fake from down here. They worked on it in practice. If they spot daylight, the call will come. Now, I don't see the opening that they saw in the film. So Nickel goes ahead and kicks the ball here in this situation, and he's got it. That's a 29-yard field goal for Tommy Nickel. We've got a timeout here in Iowa City. The Hawkeyes lead the Wolverines by Iowa City. And, I think that the Michigan defense is probably telling the offense to give us a little breather over there, will you?
They really are. I'll tell you, they've played quite well. They've made Iowa go the hard way when you consider that Iowa's had the ball 17 minutes, and Michigan has only had it just under 5 minutes. 6
minutes and 24 seconds to go here in the first half in Iowa City. Those uniforms remind you of the Pittsburgh Steelers that they wear here in Iowa. Well, when Hayden Fry showed up, he sent a little letter to the Steelers and said, please send me a replica. They did better than that. And they sent him Terry Bradshaw's full game uniform. And Hayden Fry copied the markings here. He said, I want this team to dress like a winner because the Steelers were rampaging through 1-all in the National Football League 6 years ago. And the Hawkeyes have started to do the same in the Big Ten. Their only loss in the conference this year was in Columbus to Ohio State. Goes out of the end zone. It'll come back on the 20-yard line. And when we come back, of course, it'll be the Wolverines' ball, 1st and 10. And they'll be trailing the Hawkeyes by 9.
Tomorrow, 2 hot teams from the NFC East will collide. The Washington Redskins meet the St. Louis Cardinals or other regional games, all starting with the NFL today on CBS Sports.
Big game on CBS tomorrow, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Washington Redskins. And, of course, the key for the Cardinals, Neil Lomax to Roy Green. The Game Breakers, Nerve Cross. We'll take a look at that at 12:30 Eastern Time. The NFL on CBS. Time here in the first half. Iowa and Michigan. Now a young quarterback going back into the wind after throwing that costly interception. His response coming up. Here's Rodgers. Turns the corner and gets out to the 25-yard line. Number 41, that was Mike Stoops out of Youngstown, Ohio. His brother, of course, was a star in that secondary that went out to the Rose Bowl. He's now a graduate assistant here, wants to become a coach, Bobby Stoops. Bobby Stoops had a neighbor you may have heard of back in Youngstown, Boom Boom Mancini. They played together, high school football back in that Ohio town. There he is, the younger of the two. Now it's a double tight end. Sim Nelson and Eric Caddis for Michigan. 2nd down and 5. Rodgers behind Garrett, the blocker. Only squeezed a couple of yards out of that play.
Iowa gave him a little different look that time. I didn't think they defensively, and I don't think that Michigan expected it. They had that shut down pretty well.
With the 2 tight ends, it was obvious that Bo wanted to line up and just run for a while and see if he could get a couple of first downs.
I think he'd like to get out of this half just 9-0 the way things have been going. There he is taking a look at the ball club. Another key first down attempt. Third, what is it, about 3 or 4?
Exactly.
Throw it again. Oh.
Garrett.
Got it? No.
Just stopped short of it, I believe. He had to get to the 30-yard line, remember. And the Hawk defense met him there in the middle, and it'll depend on the spot.
Okay.
So here come the Wolverine punters.
You think Bo might go for a little something fancy here?
That would not be like Bo Schembechler.
No, it certainly wouldn't.
If you'd say Hayden Fry in this situation, maybe. But Robbins punts it close to become a bouncy kick. Robert Smith will let it come down inside the 25, downed right there by the Wolverines, and that's where the Hawkeyes will take over. We've got 4 minutes to go in the first half. 47-yard punt. Pac-10 and the Big Ten Championships continues here on CBS. Right now, it is Iowa leading Michigan with a first down, and they come right straight ahead with Owen Gill up the middle.
On first down play selections, Brent, Iowa has run the ball or rushed it 10 times and just put it up once. But here with about 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go, they might want to get another one in. They got the wind with them.
Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, Iowa. Sold out for all but one of the home games in the last 5+ seasons here. Hayden Fry has brought an exciting brand of football here out of the Southwest. And he's got a good quarterback to operate it. He's under pressure right now. Chuck Long is taken down at the 13-yard line. Kevin Brooks, number 52, leading that defensive assault for Bo Schembechler.
And along with Tim Anderson, number 57, the linebacker. Fired the gap and he put pressure on. See there, he's 6'6", 245, and he's a very quick football player.
A 13-yard loss that time. That's one of the few times there that they have been able to put maximum pressure on Long, which is one of the things that Bo wanted his defensive assistants and his players to do today.
They've had pressure on him, but he escaped the pressure by rolling out, and he's got good movement, good, strong quarterback.
Throw it again.
It is again.
Down again. And that was Jim Scarcelli.
That was a good defensive series for the Wolverines that might give them a little spark here if they can get decent field position. There's 2:20, 2:19 left to go in this quarter.
This is an important punt now for the Hawkeyes. Castrobala, the left-footed punter, standing back in his own end zone to bring it out. Michigan will have a couple of minutes to work with. Good punt. Down at the 40-yard line. And that was Gilvanny Johnson, who had fumbled one earlier today. It was the first of 2 Michigan turnovers, and that's been the difference. Brian and Steve Davis coming up at halftime. They'll keep you up to date on that Notre Dame South Carolina game, tied in South Bend right now. And no doubt they'll have the highlights from that first half. Right here, of course, it is 9-0. Iowa leading Michigan. We've got 1:55 to go, and we've got a young quarterback under extreme pressure by a veteran defensive unit.
I think what is apparent from this vantage point here is that he's staring down his principal receiver. Does not have the experience to look for the secondary receivers. All the shortcomings of playing a youngster.
Rogers. And the Hawkeyes are ready. Loss of a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 11 for Michigan.
A little bit of a sprint draw, but well played by the Hawkeyes. They're an outstanding defensive team. Every one of the defensive players are back from a year ago. They're a veteran unit, and look at they allow 92.5 per game, which is just terrific. Number 5 in the nation. A passing down. Over the middle to Garrett. Upended there at the 44-yard line. Kevin Spitzik. Excuse me, Brent. Hardly worth the effort. I mean, the fullback slipped through. The Hawkeyes deployed in the zone. But this just isn't hardly worth throwing the football for the yardage they got out of it. Just at the ground level here, you see him come deep into the pocket and then throws the ball as Garrett checks through, but you see just practically no yardage on the play.
They're a timeout call by Michigan, so that leaves them with 2. Young quarterback like this on the road. Era, what can you do to relax him a little bit and get him into this game?
Well, he did do a good job up until the time he threw that interception. He threw a couple of possession passes, and I thought he was getting his confidence back. But the one thing I note from this vantage point is I mentioned that he'll stare down receivers, and of course that brings a response by the defense when they are zoning off, and they're going to get to that ball very quickly. So he's going to have to, I think, hit a couple of secondary receivers and get his confidence, and I think he's got a pretty good arm.
There's a list of the games we're covering tomorrow on CBS. I mentioned, of course, the Redskins and the Cardinals. We've also got the Giants and the Eagles, Lions and the Vikings, Bears and the Bucks. That now looms as a big game. Tampa Bay has come back in the NFC Central, and San Francisco taking on winless Houston. And, of course, the NFL today starts it all at 12:30 Eastern Time here on CBS. Right here in the Big Ten, Iowa leading Michigan 9-0. Touchdown, field goal, missed extra point. Green checking with a setback as he comes up. 3rd and 8. Incomplete. 56 seconds to go.
Trying to work against Mike Stoops, the strong safety. They put Nelson on him. Sim Nelson. He's 6'3", 230, but he couldn't get the ball to him. It was well played defensively. Looks like they're coming after a block, Brent.
Robbins gets it off to Smith. Signals for the fair catch at the 25-yard line. 49 seconds for the Hawkeyes. They can run it out and take a 9-0 lead, but they've got the wind at their back, and they've got some speed on the outside. They can take a couple of freebies. Well, the one thing that Bo Schembechler wanted to stay away from in this game has been his downfall in the first half, and that's turnovers.
It really hurt him, but I was impressed with the Iowa drive. They took the ball into the wind, both a combination of running and some passing, and took it all the way in for the only touchdown that we've seen in this game.
But the Michigan defense adjusted, and Ronnie Harmon has not hurt them as badly as he did on that first scoring drive. They'll run the draw. Big hole for Gill, and of course they're bringing the clock down here. Michigan defense had backed off in that prevent defense. Clock stops after they get a first down. 43 seconds to go, and there's a penalty flag down too. And with the holding, that'll bring it right on back.
Didn't appear to be any contain on the right side of the Michigan defense. And Gill just broke it to the outside, just came upfield. But the penalty is going to push him back. You see Hayden Fry there, really upset about something. Holding on the offense. 3 first down.
And 43 seconds. Single setback. Harmon, of course, a converted wide receiver. He goes out easily. And they work on that clock. Gill trying to stay in bounds, which he does. Gets it up to the 20. Iowa uses a timeout with 33 seconds to go. That's the ultimate optimist, Tommy Nickel, practicing a field goal with the ball way back on the 20-yard line. 33 seconds.
Well, he's got the win.
You'd need a tornado from down there.
Iowa's got one more timeout left. So they're going to need it.
The whole state of Iowa responds to this football team and Hayden Fry. Early in the morning, they start arriving in their vans and their cars, and it's like the old days up in Bloomington, Minnesota for the Minnesota Vikings. All the tailgate parties here in the neighborhood. It's not unlike the state of Nebraska rallying behind its football team. They, of course, do not have any competition from professional sports in the state of Iowa. And this is a state that travels with its team. Their last game this year is over in Hawaii. How's that for a road trip?
Not bad.
And then, of course, they could wind up in a major bowl. Let's say they win this game here this afternoon. Let's say that Ohio State still captures the Big Ten and winds up in the Rose Bowl. You wouldn't want to count the Hawkeyes out for an appearance in the Cotton Bowl or the Sugar Bowl. Sugar Bowl is here. So's the Cotton Bowl today. 4 or 5 other bowls scouting this team. You get an exciting passer like Chuck Long and about 20,000 fans that come with you. That's a bowl attraction. Second down. 16 yards to go with 33 seconds on the clock. Right up the middle with Harmon. They needed a timeout to run that play, Eric.
He figured if he could pop him into the secondary, he's got some pretty good runners. Maybe he could get down to the field goal territory. But they're going to take their last timeout with 25 seconds left to go.
Michigan will want that timeout,
they're
Eric,
killing it, huh?
you can play into somebody's hands when you start using up that timeout. If they force them to punt, they get a free run back on it. If I'd been Iowa that last time and I was going to run a play like that, I'd want to keep the clock moving.
Well, because they got 16 yards to go, and they're not going to take any high risk, I don't think.
So, of course, in this situation, trailing by 9 points, and you know your special teams have got to get you back in it, Schembechler would probably line up and try to block a punt if it comes to that. Now, this is 3rd down and 16.
And you can see that Hayden Fry right there is talking to Long about what he wants to do, what kind of risk he wants to take. He doesn't want an interception. He doesn't want to take a high-risk play because of the clock. And Bo, on the other hand, was hoping that the Wolverines will shut him down, force the punt, maybe put on a 10-man rush.
When he was your assistant coach up at Northwestern, Schembechler, he didn't have that little bald spot.
He also didn't have 15 and a half years in the Big Ten. He's done a great job. Bill Schembechler got a tremendous record. He's a little shy. The offensive team and capabilities not quite up to the standards that he has set in previous years.
There is alumni, folks, and what a Michigan connection. Bo Schembechler, look at that.
Yeah, we've got a few fellows there that I was involved with. Schembechler was on my staff. Agassi was there at Northwestern. Burton played for me. Hammond played for me. Bill Mallory played, who is now the Indiana coach.
But he has 2 sons on this team. And here is Gill coming out to the 35, close to the first down.
Got it.
Clock now stopped at the 18-second mark. Boy, that run got him out of a hole, didn't it? 16 yards.
He needed 16. He got 16. I mean, that changes the whole strategy on it. Now Bo wants the clock to run out.
Ball is at the 36-yard line. Michigan drops off on a prevent. Long for his tight end, Hayes, and it's broken up. Number 5, Eric Campbell, came out of center field.
He's only 5'10", 163 pounds, and just a freshman, but he's played well, played that ball well.
Jonathan Hayes, the tight end, shaken up just a little bit. He's a bit woozy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Teammates are out there. But we've come to the end of the first half. All the scores and highlights will be coming up. And we'll return after this commercial break and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports presents college football. Sponsored by U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. J.C. Penney, you're looking smarter than ever. J.C. Penney. And by Mr. Goodwrench and General Motors Parts.
All right, both quarterbacks, Russell Reen, whom you saw warming up, and so too did number 12, Chris Zerbrugg, play a little catch over there on the sideline. So Bo Schembechler keeping his options open. Meanwhile, Chuck Long, he was nearly perfect in the first half, finally missing as time ran out, and that was his only miss. 6 of 7 for 58 yards out of Wheaton, Illinois, from a wishbone quarterback who has come down here to Iowa and now leads the nation in passing efficiency. Let's reset the scene for you in case you just joined us. 4 teams tied for first atop the Big Ten. Ohio State, Purdue, and the 2 playing here, Iowa and Michigan. Only 2 teams in the history of the Big Ten have ever gone to the Rose Bowl with 2 losses. Schembechler admitting, and so too did Hayden Fry, that the loser of this game probably will be out of contention for a spot in the Rose Bowl. Iowa now will be kicking from the south. They will have the wind at their back. And it'll be up to Michigan to see if they can get something going. And here early in the 3rd period, you can change the whole tempo of a football game, Coach.
Certainly can, and Michigan, in addition to fighting a great Iowa defense, a fight to win, which is blowing rather significantly from the south.
I'm nickel to kick it off. Jamie Morris is set deep for Bo Schembechler. Bounces out of the end zone, did not go out on the fly. And of course, if it goes out on the fly, the ball comes out to the 30-yard line. But once it hits in the end zone and then bounces out, they'll bring it on out to the 20-yard line. And here comes Russell Reen. Reen is a sophomore out of Oak Lawn, Illinois. Played his high school football at Marist High School. He's a 6-footer, 190 pounds.
They have not thrown a pass on first down. Talking about Michigan, all of them have been rushing. Let's see if they change the pattern or not.
There's another rush, Coach. They come with the tailback, Rogers.
Great play there by Paul Hufford. Super job. Got a lot of penetration. Number 64 right there. 6'3", 262. Great quickness.
one of the problems. That front five of Hayden Fry. Whole starting defensive unit back from a year ago. 2nd and 11, and this is a tough down for the young quarterback coach.
See if they put it up.
Got it away. Oh, Little was all over him that time. What a play by George Little.
He just came right through the blocker, right on in and batted the ball down. What a play. He had a great day against Illinois here.
You had an afternoon against a player by the name of Alex Karras, and Little is about as quick as that.
He sure is. Look here. Green doesn't have a chance.
3rd and 11. Can hardly hold the young quarterback responsible for that. Crowd distracting Ween, and he's asking the official for a discretionary timeout. He couldn't hear. Hayden Fry is now telling the student body down in that end to quiet down a little bit, let him at least get the play off.
Well, that shows a lot of poise on the part of Ream. Did not get the audible call at the line of scrimmage. Look back to the official, which is the way properly trained quarterbacks should do, and you can see that Bo did give him instruction. This is Triando Markray coming in. He's really fast. I wonder if he might go for a home run here. Markray's got great speed. In Detroit, Michigan, might not be a bad call. Just let him go for the home run.
They've got Markray far to the left, and they slot Bean-Era inside of him, and now they put Rogers over here. They flank him to the right. Station fake blitz and back out, and look at that pressure screen. And Mike Stoops came flying up to take Garrett down. What a defensive series by the Hawkeyes.
Tremendous defensive series. And this is exactly what was expected out of the Hawkeyes during the course of the year. And when they stumbled a little bit up against Penn State and Ohio State, everybody was quite surprised, but they've come back with some great wins. Here it is. They're trying to throw a screen pass. He does draw, and there's Little. He dumps the ball off. But look here, Mike Stoops right in on the play. Negative yardage, and they're kicking out of their own end zone.
Robbins to punt it again. Robert Smith for the fair catch. And it's down at the 46-yard line. Hawkeyes will take over. So it's only a 30-yard change of possession. Decent field position coming up.
Well, he's going to have to get some offense going if he wants to change that. They've had difficulty moving the ball, but so has most everyone against Iowa's defense.
Chuck Long and Hayden Fry have the wind at the offense's back now. Single set, slot to the left. Opens fire immediately. Dumps it right over the middle to Owen Gill. First down to the Michigan 40-yard line.
Great job by Gill. He was patient in there. He was getting good protection. No one was open downfield. Gill checked through after blocking, and he picked him up as a secondary or practically a third receiver. Let's take a look at it like a linebacker might see it. You see Long, number 16 there. Goes back into the pocket. He's getting good protection. And here comes Gill. He just checks it off to him. And, of course, the Michigan defense has to respond to it, but not until he picked up good yardage on it.
Tim Stennett, a running back, checks in for Long. And they come with Ronnie Harmon. Battles inside the 40-yard line. Errol, one of the things that Iowa has been able to do here against this very tough Michigan defense, they've gotten some large chunks of yardage. They had Owen Gill for the 16 yards near the end of the first half. I can remember Long going to Happel for 21 yards. They were coming out there for 11 yards a couple plays before that. They're doing a much better job than we've seen other teams against this defense.
They have. They've done an excellent job. Of course, they're a potentially explosive offensive team. Here they are, right over the sideline for another one.
That's Bill Happel out of bounds at the 28. I'll tell you, this is a surgeon's job that Long is doing.
You see how quick he got that ball to the sideline to Happel? He really delivered. His arm as well. Watch here from a ground level view. Watch it. Bang. Right to the sideline. There's Happel. and a first down.
They didn't make much out of that shoulder injury, but Coach, he's throwing much better than he did on that Saturday against Illinois.
Yeah, remember that day he was overthrowing, underthrowing? And since that time, he's really been on target.
After that 12-yard gain, the first down is at the 27-yard line. He's already 8 of 9. He's putting it up for the 10th time. He's got, Hayes couldn't hold on, had to turn back, thrown in behind him a little bit.
Hayes had to turn. It had been a tough catch. The ball was there, hit him in the left arm, but he couldn't turn fast enough because he was going against the grain of the ball.
Ivan Hicks checks into that secondary for Michigan.
Apparently Jonathan Hayes is shaking off that blow that he got right at the end of the half.
Now they stand him up to the right, tight there, Coach. Smith is flanked outside of him. They show blitz this time. And he gets it in the hands of Harmon, who won't go anywhere. And Hicks, who just checked in, had him right away. And we got more on Georgia Vanderbilt, so let's go back to the 11 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the third quarter. Iowa on the move again, but this is a 3rd and 10.
Big down for Michigan.
They'll run out of it with Harmon trying to get outside of the left.
Look at this.
Good containment that time.
Brad Cochran did a great job, number 30 there. Excellent job. Looked like Harmon wanted to dive, dip to the outside, which he normally has been able to do, but Cochran really shadowed him that time. Watch here. Little misdirection play. There's Harmon, number 31, coming right at you. And look at the moves. He's going to try to get outside of Brad Cochran. Watch 30 come in here and hang right on. Excellent job along with Mike Mallory.
They're setting for the field goal, but if it's open, this is a fake opportunity right here for Tommy Nickel. But they don't show it that time. He come through with a 46-yard attempt right here. And he hits it. Tommy Nickel with his 2nd field goal has the Hawkeyes up by 12. The Iowa, I'm Brett Musburger along with Ara Parsegan. 11 minutes to go here in the third quarter, and the Hawkeyes are leading the Wolverines of Michigan 12-0. Tommy Nickel, who just booted that 46-yard field goal, will kick it off for the Hawks. And of course, it has been a long afternoon for Bo Schembechler's offense. Struggling without the experienced quarterback, having lost Jim Harbaugh 2 weeks ago in an upset loss at the hands of Michigan State. He suffered a broken arm, diving for a fumble.
They have to start at the 20 again into the wind. It's a tough chore to go against this great Iowa team.
Update now, the Irish at the half lead South Carolina, and Joe Morrison, Era, has done an excellent job with South Carolina.
Well, he has, and I'm glad to see Notre Dame get on the board with 17 points. They've been having difficulty getting into the end zone. It'd be a big boost to Jerry Faust if he could knock off the South Carolina, but there's still a half to play, apparently.
Apparently, yes. Yeah. At the half there would be. Unless they've changed the rules, Coach. All right, Green brings him to the line of scrimmage. Rick Rogers. Era, we tend to concentrate so much on a quarterback as we look at the first half possessions here for the Wolverines. But, you know, part of the problem also is that Bo Schembechler's offensive line doesn't dominate the way it did the last couple of years. Remember when he had players like Humphreys out there, and Humphreys went one-on-one against Larry Station, the linebacker, and held him to a standoff? They've lost a lot of those people.
Well, Bo said that he knew that they were not going to have the great offensive line. He thought they'd be fair. But in addition to the problems that they had in personnel, they've had a number of injuries to the offensive line that has really cut into it. Clay Miller has got bad ankles out there. Doug James, the quick guard, has got a little neck injury that is pinched. They've just had a lot of problems. They lost Rick Frazier, the starting tackle, and he's been out. And John Elliott steps in there. He's not very experienced. So they have had problems in the offensive line.
And now they are forced to bring Frazier back into that spot because of those bad ankles. Miller had to leave the game there, as you pointed out, Coach. Now they've got a man in motion here for Wayne. And again, they come back with Rogers. Must get to the 30-yard line for the first down, and he got out near it. Officials stop the clock here to take a look. They'll move the chains for the first down. 10:23 to go. And that's how Michigan's going to have to get back in this game.
You've got to
control football.
I think probably Bull will wait till that third period to put the ball up in the air in a little better field position.
Splits Rogers out. Garrett cuts back. Gets 5. So it's 2nd and 5. And if he can get 5 yards on his first down, he's in pretty good shape.
What he needs. That's a good job running by Garrett that time. The play was designed a little bit more off tackle. He saw the daylight a little bit like Harmon would. You see Larry Station, their great linebacker, #1 linebacker, 6'1", 233, came in there and made the play. But Garrett did a good job of reading the daylight. Not a bad average, 5 yards against a good Iowa team. That's not too shabby.
Now Michigan comes up with the eye. Show a 5-man front, and they blitz. Picked up. They pick up the blitz, and Rogers comes across the 45-yard line. And they've got a first down.
This is the best drive that Michigan has had since the opening kickoff. Watch here from the end zone shot. Just a blocked off tackle. He cuts it back to the inside. As you see, 76, Jeff Dorst overruns the play, and Rick Rogers does a good job of running.
That was Station coming on that play, and the Wolverines had him picked up immediately and knocked him out of the hole. So now it's first down. Rogers is hit hard behind the line of scrimmage. Lost a couple, and again it's big Paul Hufford out of Mount Vernon, Iowa.
He got a lot of penetration that time. And there's Spitzig. Kevin Spitzig, number 38. He's overshadowed because of the great Larry Station, but Spitzig's an outstanding football player, #2 tackler on this football team.
Instead of 2nd and 5, as they had a short time ago, now they got 2nd and 12, and that certainly changes the complexion of the series. Over the middle to his tight end, Nelson, who breaks a tackle and gets to the 45. He is about 2.5 yards short of the first down. Devon Mitchell on the stop.
Well, I'll tell you, he was well covered, really. He was able to grab and hang on to the ball. He got it to him. Let's take a look at it right here from another shot. And Nelson does break a couple of tackles. You see Mike Stoop, number 41, coming in here. Nelson shakes the tackles and picks up some yardage. Not quite enough for a first down. So this is a big one right here, 3rd and about 2.
Power eye, 2 tight end. It's Garrett. Stop short. Hap Peterson, the middle guard, helped out. The Hawkeyes were not fooled. Well, they make the pitch to Rogers.
They were well coached there. They reacted immediately to the power eye shifting from the right to the left. And Schembechler is not going to chance it. He's going to kick it. Good defense. Now Boy's upset. Didn't get the first down. I needed it.
Robbins to punt it. Another fair catch signal for by Smith, and he's got it at the 12-yard line. They have changed Smith's style. He used to return everything. Fumbled in Portland against Penn State. Now it's all fair catches. Right here on CBS Sports next Saturday. Now, Era, Bo took field position rather than gambling at midfield.
Exactly. He did punch out for a pretty... Might have made 2 or 3 first downs, but at least he's got Iowa back in their own territory, and if they can hold here and force a punt, they could get back into this ball game.
Up with Owen Gill, and nothing doing against that Michigan defense right now.
You see that Long is waving his arms as if he wants to rub something off. Apparently he must have audibleized something at the line that they had called. And he's going to get the signal here. Put that ball back in your own territory there. I don't think Hayden wants to take too many chances. He's got a 12-0 lead. He doesn't want any turnovers down here.
Well, it's his own crowd that seems to be bothering him a little bit. They're so loud right now.
Going to put it up.
Goes long on 2nd and 10 for Robert Smith, incomplete.
Well, they gave it a go there, didn't they?
Had the wind at his back, 6:14 to go in the third, put it down there a good 50 yards. And of course, Smith is the man who burned Purdue last Saturday.
Long gets hit just before he throws that, or just after he throws that football. Take a look right here. He rolls right, looking for Smith. Right there, you see, he gets knocked down. Oh, he gets a real shot there. You can see all the people that were there. I wonder here, they've run the screen and the draw in other situations with that third attempt. Oh, good defense. Whew.
Came on the blitz, and they stepped up to the other side with Owen Gill and Mike Mallory, one of the Michigan co-captains.
That's an excellent series, Brent, for Michigan, because they have stopped them. They've got to kick the ball from their own 14-yard line. Conceivably could get decent position.
Jerry Costabella. And they get on it.
Shanked him.
And he just did even get that off. And it went out to the 36-yard line. And here's field position now. A 22-yard punt.
See, Bo's going to make a decision now whether he wants to run it in. Still hasn't made a decision. There he goes. Well, you can see the decision to punt, how important that was. He relied on his defense to hold. They pinned him down. Now they've got the ball back as a result of a very weak punt at the 36-yard line.
First down for the Wolverine. Johnson in motion. Rogers, hole is there, and he got to the 30. It's a good 6 yards there on first down.
They're starting to move that football. Here's another ground level at it. Belorus, the center, right there, number 59. You see Ream gives the ball off, and here comes Rogers. You see number 76, Jeff Darst. That guy is 6'4", 286. Rogers goes to the sideline. Have they got White in there?
Might be coming with Jamie Morris in this situation, and they do. It is Jamie Morris. And here he comes. And he gets to the 27-yard line.
They're starting to move that football. The second, just watch on the right side here is number 77, Bob Tabacino, number 77, right there, blocking to the inside. Morris hits right in there in the tailback inside play, and he's finally brought down there by number 91, Mike Hooks. But not until he picked up about 4.5 yards.
Now Bo lines up two tight ends. He settles into a bit of a ground war here with 3rd and a yard. The power eye. He's gone to Garrett in this situation. This time he goes to the tailback of Rogers, and it is going to be close. He was following Garrett into the hole, and I'm not sure that he got it. But in this situation, Schimbecker will come back on 4th down and go because he's got valuable field position here in his favor.
No question about it. He's going to go for it here. It's very, very close. Let's see. He's short, I think.
He is short.
Yep, by about 2 feet. You got to remember, too, the other situation on 3rd and short, the series before, well, I guess it's just a foot. Iowa did stop Michigan. I wonder whether or not Bo would be willing to take a chance. This would be a wonderful opportunity to bait Iowa into trying to stop this play and come up with a run-action pass or a misdirection play. Let's see whether Bo is going to go for the first down. They're opening up the attack this time.
Bean is outside, split to the left. Rogers is behind Garrett. Here's Rogers. He's got the first down and gets inside the 20-yard line.
That was a good call by Ream that time. He audibilized at the line of scrimmage. He had daylight at the off tackle spot on the left side, and he picked it. That was a very good call. Here's a ground lever shot of it. You watch him come right through the hole. He got beautiful blocking at the point of attack. You see number 38 being blocked, which is Kevin Spitzig. And they got the first down. Another angle again. Look at the good hole right there. 38 does not fill it. He gets blocked there by number 32, Garrett. He was a fine blocker. First down at the 20.
Now Rogers has rushed 15 times for 53 yards. Green comes right back with him. Ran into his own man, got jammed up down there at about the 17-yard line where his forward progress was stopped.
Good job there by 91 Mike Hook, 6'3", 226, senior, outstanding football player. Did a good job there. Watch him right here as your outside backer, number 91. Nelson goes to the inside the block. He comes in and closes and neutralizes Garrett, spins off of it, and comes right in there and makes the play. Also gets help from number, can't quite see it there.
Second down and 8. Best Wolverine drive of the day. Take Rogers, he'll throw off it under pressure. It's going to be incomplete. He had to throw that ball away.
Boy, he had Darst in there. Number 38, Kevin Spitzig was there. Really put pressure on him. Now, you can't throw very well when you're getting that kind of heat on you. Best he could do was get rid of the football. At least they've got a third down play coming up.
Mark Bray, split far to the left. Green's pass to Mark Bray. First down at the 6-yard line.
Good throw. He's hurt. It looked like he got hit in the head. Green, the quarterback, number 3. I don't know, although I guess he's all right now. Good throw by Ream, Brent. Watch here. There's another view of it. They've opened the formation with double flankers to your defensive right. Yes, right there. And he delivers the ball right on target. An excellent throw to Triando Markray.
Now they're at the 6 with 2 minutes and 34 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Iowa leading Michigan 12-0. Rogers battles his way back, and he's hit by 3 or 4 Hawkeyes, led by Mike Stoops, number 41, who pressed up in the secondary quickly.
Along with Mike Hooks, boy, what a defensive surge that was. Watch this. If you want to see great defense, watch Iowa here. Watch the reaction here. You'll see a lot of black shirts coming here. Number 1, of course, there is Mike Stoops, 41, and helped by Mike Hooks.
Now it is second and goal. Ball is at the 6-yard line. Green slips up at the 10-yard line. Pulling out.
I'll tell you who caused that. Looked like Darst, number 76, pushed Belouris back, and he tripped over Belouris' leg, it appeared to be.
Up against a big middle guard like that, he's not accustomed to taking on that much weight.
286-pounder, 6'4", Darst, number 76 of Iowa. Let's see right here. Watch Belouris right there. Gets knocked back, and he tripped over his leg right there. Although it's number 73, Doug James, who was shoved back into it. Oh, Bo doesn't like that one. A wasted down. Never got it away from center.
It is third and goal, but they are back near the 10. And the clock goes off before he gets the play away. Time ran out on Russell Reen and the Wolverines.
Now he's got to decide whether he wants to go for the touchdown or take 3 points.
That was the first penalty on Bo Schembechler's Michigan team.
Comes in with Rogers and Caddis, Brent.
He gets a third down shot here from the 15. And then he'll have to, of course, determine what to do here in the closing minute of the third quarter. Intercepted by the Hawkeyes. Devon Mitchell, second interception, and he could go.
Number 21, trying to hit number 25, Bean. The ball was thrown behind him. Watch him come up the left sideline, return 75 yards. Watch 73, Doug James, making great effort there. He shakes the tackle, comes on down the sideline here. A great play by Devon Mitchell, changes the whole momentum and tide. And we'll be back.
Commercial break. And a word from your local station.
Hi, Bob Do-It-Yourself Hope here for Haviland Supreme Motor Oil. Texaco's formula with its 9 additives gives proven engine protection. And Haviland's Friction Fighter reduces engine friction to help save gasoline in your car. Get the motor oil that gives you proven engine protection and helps save gasoline. Haviland Supreme.
And now through October 31st, get a $1.25 rebate on a 5-quart purchase of any grade Haviland motor oil. Details at participating retailers and stores.
When I started delivering beer back in 1893, the supermarket was a blacksmith shop. Well, those days are gone. But maybe not entirely. You see this? Today's Milwaukee's best. It's got a smooth, old-time taste, old-time quality, and a real fair, old-time price. Milwaukee's best. It's just the kind of deal that his great-great-granddaddy would have loved.
Introducing Milwaukee's best. Old-time quality at an old-time price.
This is CBS.
It's right, it's good, it's here. Here's the place. Here's the place. Oh, real taste of beer and all the good times you have here.
If you're looking for a better beer, you're going to look a real long time.
Here's the place. Friends all around. Here's the place. It's beer in town.
Sure goes down easy.
For the real taste of beer, here's the place.
Now, what'll you have? Joe Duttler announces Duttler Ford's fall closeout. The 85 Escorts and Rangers are rolling in. Duttler Ford must close out the 84s. Right now, you can buy an 84 Escort for as little as $99 a month. That's right, an 84 Escort for $99 a month. 84 Rangers are fall closeout prices, too. Payments as low as $107 a month. You'll also find Duttler's conversion vans discounted up to $5,000. The fall closeout sale won't last long, so get out to Duttler Ford on 28th Street first thing tomorrow.
WKZO TV3 Kalamazoo.
We're back live here in Iowa City, and Coach Parsegian, you know what a crushing turnaround that is for a team going in. Bo's about ready to get right back in this game.
Well, the Michigan character, defensive character, is going to be tested on this drive. There really was a great interception, but it's going to put the heat on Michigan defense.
You know, Harmon has really been shut down since that first quarter. 7 carries for 1 yard. They faked to him and come back with Gill, and he's met. Give you an idea of just how talented this Michigan defense is. Consider that in the first quarter now, Harmon carried 14 times for 46 yards and 1 touchdown. Since then, he has carried 7 times and only netted a yard.
They've really played outstanding. You see, Michigan picked up some of the yardage, but without question, this is a defensive battle. But the most important point, 12-1, 12-0 on the board for
one. What do you think, Robert? Canada? What do you want to get?
Iowa won.
Third down and 9. Long pulls out. Got time. Happel. Now there's the mark of an experienced quarterback. He checked off on his primary, looked back down, and finally picked up a secondary man.
Oh, what a beautiful throw this is with plenty of time. Here's Happel, number 40. Drives to the inside, gets into the seam in front of the deep defenders. Long has enough time, sees him in there, and delivers. That's the difference between an experienced quarterback, Schembechler knows it, and one with inexperience.
Happel has caught 4 passes for 53 yards. His father having been a Hawkeye in the mid-50s. An assistant coach here at Iowa for some time. Double tight end in there now. On 1st and 10, and here's Harmon again. Can he get daylight this time?
Nope. They've really done a job on Harmon, as you pointed out, since that early going, first quarter.
Injury over here for Michigan.
It's Moeller. Andy Moeller, I think it's 49. That's Gary Moeller's son, who's the defensive coordinator on this football team, on the Michigan team.
Era, talk to me a little bit about Bo Schembechler's staff, some of the people he got over there alongside him. You mentioned, of course, Bo was helped off to the sideline. Hope that injury is not serious. And Era, this is a big moment for Michigan in this game now, with Iowa down to 10-yard line. 2nd down and about 9 yards to go. Hawkeyes leading 12-0. 13:50 to go. And they run Owen Gill right up the middle into the end zone.
Boy, he ran right through.
Nickel to set up now for the extra point. And Iowa now leads Michigan 19-0.
Take a look at it. Just slips the ball to Gill right here, and he pops right there. Someone shakes the tackler, and into the end zone he goes. He has carried 12 times for 61 yards. Look at Bo. Look at this. Well, it's tough. And we'll be back.
Since Hayden Fry's Iowa Hawkeyes yielded a touchdown. They gave field goals to Northwestern and Purdue. When they dominated Purdue last week, it was the Boilermakers' first loss in the conference. Hayden Fry said the players rededicated the season following that tough 45-26 loss to Ohio State in Columbus earlier this season. And since then, they have been perfect, starting off by beating Illinois. Jack Trudeau passing into the end zone, and that's the last time that someone has scored 6 points against these Hawkeyes. And they're 13-47 away from wrapping up another one against the Wolverine. Morris fumbles the ball at the 10. Shakes free and gets out to the 17.
You know, to attest to the remarkable job that Hayden Fry has done, in the previous 19 years before he came here, 4 different coaches at Iowa averaged about 34.2 win percentage. Hayden came in, and in the last 3 years, he is averaging 70% wins. To give you an idea what he has done here, they had had a winning season in 19 years.
Chris Zerbrug, number 12, is the Michigan quarterback, a sophomore out of Alliance, Ohio, working against Hayden Fry's defense.
Chris Zerbrug's dad played for me at Miami of Ohio, and he was a tough guy.
Hands off. Oh, beautiful fake. Threw it incomplete. And that was interference. That was Mike Stoops, was all over the intended receiver that time.
Well, Steve Johnson coming across the middle. Let's take another look at it from ground level. Number 29 is Nate Greer covering. You see Steve Johnson break to the inside, and then Stoops comes in, and oh yeah, he grabbed him. Yes, definitely interference. He grabbed him just before the ball got there. It was a good call.
Marvelous fake by Zerbrug. I thought he had handed the ball to Rogers. Now checking in Ken Sims. He comes into the defensive backfield, and Rick Schmidt comes out for the Hawkeyes. Do you realize, Era, that the Wolverines have not been shut out since 1977?
That's a long time ago. Well, they're going against a formidable defense, I'll tell you. Well, you can see there the miscues in the result. There's been 2 interceptions and a fumble. They did get the ball back on one occasion after the fumble from Iowa.
Woodward to throw it again toward Bean. Incomplete. Second down. And we've got an update on the Irish in South Carolina, so let's go back to Pat.
Okay, Brent. Alan Pinkett gets the ball here from Steve Berline. And who is his receiver? Steve Berline, wide open. They missed a two-point conversion, but Notre Dame leads 26-14. Let's go back to Brent and Aaron.
All right.
That's great. They're getting on the board.
Jerry Faust can hold off rumors for 24 hours, right, if he wins one?
Oh, he's been besieged, I'll tell you. It looks like they're moving along pretty good in this ball game.
Second down. Here's Rogers.
Boy, look at that defense. Whew. Hooks is playing an outstanding football game. This is about 4 or 5 times we've called his number. There he is, number 91, 6'3", 226, senior. Good movement from Omaha, Nebraska. He's having a good day.
Tom Osborne lets a couple of good ones get away from the state every now and then, doesn't he? Hooks and Larry Station, both out of Nebraska. Third down. Sherbrooke almost intercepted and then almost caught. And Sims was looking at the end zone when he touched that ball. Watch here. Zerbrugg pulled out. Had his receiver on the sideline. Sims stepped in front. And then the juggling act went on and out of bounds for the Wolverines.
Well, when you go against a defense like that, you just must feel just intimidated. They make it tough for you to run. They make it tough for you to throw. So good catch.
And a fair catch by Smith. Morris gets 3 yards. Well, with all the Bull Scouts here, Hayden Fry is doing an excellent job of impressing them. No, I don't think that's Coach Fry. Do you, Aaron?
No, I don't think so. But he's just
one of the Bull Scouts.
He's just as happy as that guy, I'll tell you that.
Those guys for the Bulls always did have a great time, didn't they, huh? Get to go out and eat all this free press box food. Zerbrugg to throw it again. Incomplete and intercepted. Nate Creer. So if Devon Mitchell's going to get a pair, his former high school teammate is going to get one. As good as a punt. Except Bo wasn't thinking about punting right there.
That's the 4th turnover for Michigan, the very thing that Bo Schembechler said they could not do. Zerbrugg tries to go deep. He overthrows a receiver. They were just not connected at all. Johnson there, number 26, picked off by Nate Greer. Then he drops the ball right there, picks it up. You're allowed to advance your own fumble. And here he comes until he's finally brought down. But that is the 4th turnover for the University of Michigan.
Nate yesterday was watching the films when we were over in the coach's office. He thought he was able to pick up something. And obviously he put it to pretty good use right there, didn't he? So the Hawkeyes dominating right now. And again, a bobble on the exchange, and Long will just have to eat it right there at the 10-yard line. 9:55 to go here in Iowa City.
You know, Brent, I think that you really have to take your hat off to the Michigan defense, because they have only given up at this point, with 9:45 left to go, 189 yards to a team that's been averaging 443.
They may tell the offense to walk home tonight from Iowa City.
That's right.
You guys ain't getting on a plane with us. 2nd and 11. Here's the pitch to Ronnie Harmon, and boy, he's cut off, and there's an example of that defense that you were talking about right there. Jim Scarcelli, number 85, out of Warren, Michigan, laid a lick on him. This is the most impressive job we've seen done against Harmon.
Yeah, they really have done an outstanding job. And here they are with the score 19-0, and they're still hanging in there.
Thing is, if you take Harmon away, Owen Gill starts to run loose on you, and he has for about 70 yards here.
Or Long will really put you to rest.
On 3rd down, they'll come back. Harmon got some daylight this time.
There we go. Well,
he heard me up here.
He sure did. He said, "What are you guys talking about up there? They're not going to stop me all afternoon."
Those guys from Bayside, Queens are tough, aren't they?
Let me show you. I'm going to pick up 13 yards for you. And he does it the hard way. Look, watch this. Watch his cutback. Comes clear back against. He is a great back. But Iowa can hit you so many ways. I mean, as you pointed out, Gill, either Harmon or then Long, of course, will strike with his arm.
The way he's playing the last few weeks, the pros are going to have to take a long look at Chuck Long, too. He can turn professional, or he can come back for another year here at Iowa as he hits Happel on the sideline.
He got hit by Al Cincich that time. Number 53 hit Long just as he released him.
Bowling Green leading Northern Illinois, and of course that's where the Mallorys lived when their father was the coach out there for a time. They played high school at DeKalb. Auburn with a quick touchdown, and Georgia has really run it up against Vanderbilt. I remember when that game was tied at 7. Seems like last week, doesn't it? Alabama now ahead Tennessee, and Clemson running it up on Duke. Here's Harmon. Shut down. Clock down at 8 minutes. And State goes ahead of North Carolina. Harry, you know, so many coaches have tried to do what Hayden Fry has accomplished in the Big Ten, but they failed. He has done a spectacular job with a program that is down in a conference that was dominated by 2 teams for years, Ohio State and Michigan. And yet now when you talk about power in the conference, you look right here to Iowa City.
He's gone to the Rose Bowl. He's taken this team to bowl games. He's had winning seasons. They've done a tremendous job.
And here's his Chuck Long. Going long, and it's complete down at the 40-yard line. Mike Flagg, number 86. And Eric Campbell was there on the stop.
What a beautiful throw and catch. Watch Campbell here from an end zone shot. Takes the ball to Harmon. Holds the linebackers. Now you see Mallory, 42, trying to chase back with Flagg right there. And watch this little freshman come in and hit Flagg right there, but not until Long has put the ball right in his hands. Boy, he is something. He's a good one.
And his offensive coordinator, Bill Snyder, coached a lot of California high school football, has done an excellent job in working with Chuck Long, too. Here's Gill getting outside, but he was out of bounds at the 30-yard line. They'll bring it on back.
Still picked up about 9 or 10 yards.
He's the former tailback.
Just turning the corner right there. Number 8, Mallory, misses the tackle, and there he steps out right there after about a 10-yard Gill. Again, Owen Gill. 13 for 70 right now with 1 touchdown.
That'd be a pretty good bird. Gillum.
There it is. How about this? That's with Harmon in there this year. Can you imagine what he would have done if he'd been a tailback? He'd have that record.
Right now it's a 2nd down and less than a 1. They got both tight ends in there to power. Hayden working on the clock, and he did that so impressively, as you pointed out, in that game against Illinois.
It was one of the great drives that I've ever seen, because Illinois really had a hot hand. Trudeau was throwing the ball. You knew if they got the ball back, that they would probably get into the end zone. I don't know what this debate about is right now. Hayden's talking to the officials. In any event, Iowa took that ball and marched it right down the field and controlled that clock for 6.5 minutes.
Somebody over on the sideline is injured. One of the cheerleaders there went down. One of the Michigan cheerleaders. Receiving assistance over there on the sideline. Now one of the officials also walks over to see if everything's all right. We'll be right back to Iowa City. Here's Chuck Long pulling out to throw it deep toward the end zone of Robert Smith. Incomplete.
And to further amplify on what I was talking about, Brent, is the offense has just not been productive. As you look at the scores, 14-6 against Indiana. They got beat by Michigan State. They've struggled because of the offense, and if you don't have, you can't move the football, it puts an awful lot of pressure on your defense. This certainly is not to take anything away from Iowa. I think Iowa's a great football team. I actually picked Iowa in my preseason prognostications to win the Big Ten. And with the exception of the Ohio State game, they have played exceptionally well.
Gill batters straight ahead on a 3rd down. Trying to get that first down that would keep the Hawkeyes in possession. And they've got it. They'll move the chains, and the Irish holding on to a 4-point lead in South Bend over South Carolina. Now Iowa with 6 minutes and 30 seconds to work with here in Iowa City. And an apparent victory in hand. Came in favored by a touchdown. They run the draw. Gill cuts back, breaks a tackle by Mallory, and dances down to the 21.
You know, you wouldn't know that he's 226 pounds. He moves just like a halfback. He's 6'1", 226, but he's got a lot of moves, and he also has a lot of power.
We get word that Bernie Kosar has sustained an injury in that particular game as he leads Miami to a 27-0 lead over Pittsburgh. Only we don't know when he went down, actually.
Not only that, Pittsburgh has been a surprise team this year. They're expected to be one of the top 10 teams.
Going to Happel at the 11-yard line. They get another first down. Doug Mallory, the younger of the two Mallory brothers, with the hit. Clock stopping as they get a first down. 10 yards to go.
I think the rest of the teams on Iowa's schedule are going to be hard-pressed to compete against this Iowa ball club. They have such great balance and outstanding defense and really a very versatile offense that they can run and pass. Great receivers, very solid football team.
Take to Harmon, and Gill comes back. And he bolted inside the 5-yard line. Just reversed their direction on that. Misdirection at the top of the play, and it worked. Owen Gill was born in London, and his family moved to New York. Went to high school in Brooklyn. Still talks with a little touch of English accent. Long will throw it. out of the end zone. Jonathan Hayes, the tight end, is the intended receiver. And the defensive players have done a job today, haven't they? There they are.
That particular play right there was designed for Michigan, expecting both corners to come hard on a running down at the 3-yard line. I was surprised they took the short side of the field there on the right hash mark. I would have thought they would have gone to the left side. They slow blocked the tight end and then break him into the flat. He was open momentarily, but they didn't have enough field to run to.
Power I set up. Harmon got to the 3. And it'll be 4th down for the Hawkeyes. Student body helping Hayden make up his mind. They obviously want to go for the touchdown. And here comes the play from the sideline, and they are indeed going to try to get it in. 4 minutes. And UCLA against California still to come here this afternoon on CBS.
I don't think I'd take a chance on the option play here. He is. He got a
touchdown.
They ran it anyway. My concern, of course, would be with the game pretty much in hand, an injury to Long. They're going to need him the rest of the year. But he's a big, strong guy, and he took it right in there.
I think that Vice President George Bush would be able to describe better than I what Iowa has done to Michigan here this afternoon.
I think we are all getting your message.
Tommy Nickel adds an interior lineman. And for Iowa, Devon Mitchell, who intercepted 2 passes, including one when the score was 12-0, and Michigan was apparently heading for a touchdown. Mitchell returned that 75 yards, and a check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated by Chevrolet to each college's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields.
I think that those are good choices, both of them defensively. This was a defensive game until the last drive here, which was 85 yards and 15 plays, but which really put it out of hand. But I like to see defensive players get awards. They're in there. They don't get as much credit they probably are deserving of. They're in there making the tackles and trying to stop the opposition. So I think those are 2 good choices.
Well, thank you, sir. You voted for 50%.
Well, I just wanted to support my decision-making.
There's a guy who's not laughing this afternoon. No one takes a defeat any harder than Bo Schembechler. And no one will be back any harder than Bo Schembechler, too, once he puts this Michigan squad back together again, as he will, no doubt, by next season. Here's the kickoff, and Jamie Morris has had some difficulty back there today. He has stopped short of the 20-yard line. And let me thank the folks who brought you this Big Ten contest this afternoon from Iowa City. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Our executive producer of college sports here on CBS, of course, is Kevin O'Malley. This game was produced by Rick Sharp, directed by Larry Cavallina, the associate producer Bob Rowe, and the associate director was Rich Nelson. And our thanks go out especially to Lou Scana, the field technical director here. Thanks to all. Zubrock back to throw it now, and it's complete to his tight end. He hits Sim Nelson. Michigan would like to avoid a shutout, as you see the names of some of the rest of the folks who brought you this action here this afternoon.
Well, you might speculate on the future of the quarterbacking at Michigan, depending on what Bo wants to do.
Here he has a freshman by the name of Bob Cernak, who has been out with a broken hand, who was here in uniform today. He's a left-hander. Cast was off. He was throwing pretty well in practice, and if the season is not going to bring him great success, he might want to try Cernak, certainly before it's over.
Well, he was injured. He had a great reputation. He's supposed to be a pretty good football player, but he has been on the injury list. We were surprised, as a matter of fact, to see him out here today.
I'll tell you one game that the field marshal will be ready for, no matter what happens to Michigan in the next 2 weeks, and that'll be against that team down south, Ohio State.
Ohio State, the Buckeyes. We'll see them next week against Wisconsin, the Buckeyes, up at Madison.
Running back who is as good as any I've seen this year in college football, watching on tapes and films, and that, of course, is Keith Byers.
He's remarkable.
Markray is the receiver at the 44-yard line. Clock stopped with the first down, 2:49. Bo, of course, would dearly love to avoid the shutout here.
Yeah, he'd like to get on the board.
He's going to do anything he can to get some points down there.
You know, this is another thing that Iowa had been prone during the course of the season, particularly in their 2 losses, to make critical errors that were very costly. They've been avoiding those the last few ball games and playing good, solid football on both sides of the ball and without those mistakes that were so costly.
Morris running from scrimmage. Battled for a couple of yards. John Frazee, as Hayden Fry now starts to use some of his second unit defensive players. One of the things about this Iowa defense, they will have to rebuild it next year. When you take a look at some of the seniors who are out there, Mike Hooks, of course, senior 5th year. Paul Hufford is a senior. George Little is a senior. Dave Strobel is a senior. Kevin Spitzig is a senior. Mike Stoops is a senior. Keith Hunter is a senior. Bean was out of bounds. Did not have a foot in bounds when he caught it there at the 40-yard line.
You know, Brent, of course, when I was in Notre Dame, and most of my college coaching career, I was blessed with outstanding quarterbacks. And there were just a few years where maybe you didn't have quite the guy you wanted, and you had to really rely on your defense, try to establish a running game, and hang in the games that you were playing.
You know, I don't want to criticize Bo Schembechler because of the great success he's had, but because of the rules, the way they have been changed, and the way quarterbacks in high school are throwing the ball, he might have to change his approach a little bit to Michigan football and go for a big, strong quarterback now, someone who can throw the ball.
Well, he's been run-oriented, and basically, and of course they've been successful that way. You see here they're throwing the ball. The Bean, they can throw the ball, but they have been inexperienced there, and it really reduces the effectiveness of your offense. You're not balanced. In other words, teams can defense you. I think Iowa challenged Michigan to go ahead and throw. They picked off balls. I mean, of course, you're going against an outstanding defensive unit when you're going against Iowa. But I know the feeling, having had maybe a year or two in my coaching career where I had to struggle through.
This is a first down for Bo at the 40. Zurbrugg replaced Green. Still in there, quarterback under enormous pressure. Gets away from it. Now on the run. And got to the 26-yard line for another first down with 1:37.
Not a bad job of scrambling out. Picked up 14 yards on it. Take a look at it right here. Actually, he shakes the tackler. Looks like he's going to get negative yardage. Right there, number 50 has his hand on him, loses him. Zurbrugg comes up the field. Now, it looks like he wants to throw it, but he's only about 4 or 5 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Zurbrugg to throw it, low and incomplete. You said that Zurbrugg's father played for you at Miami of Ohio. Was he a quarterback, Earl?
No, he was. Matter of fact, this is back in the days when we played 2 ways, had to play both ways. He played offensive guard only because he had to play offense.
Look at that.
Oh, my goodness. It's changed there. Tough. 8 minutes to go.
You sure you don't want to go back and coach Notre Dame?
No. I do want to talk about Zurbrugg because his dad that played for me was really a tough guy. Played middle guard and also linebacker. Only played offense because we had to. Here he is on the option play. Look at here.
Nice run, Eric. Close to another first down. We get word from our producer, Rick Sharp, and a word that we were certainly hoping for, that the cheerleader was taken to the hospital, but for precautionary measures. He appears to be all right. And It is not serious. At least that is the unofficial word that we get now, and we're certainly glad to hear that.
Well, that's good news, because generally you're taking someone off on a stretcher. It's a football player in most cases.
You know, I have seen a couple of cheerleaders injured seriously in basketball games, or that come down with some tumbling act onto the hard floor like that. They can get injured. They're pretty acrobatic, those kids. They do a great job, don't they?
They really do.
So here's Michigan now trying to hold off that shutout. They've got a minute to do it. Zurbrugg is at the 17. He's got a 1st and 10. Let's see if they can pull it off. Got it away. It'll be 2nd down. And that was Hap Peterson, middle guard, who got in on that play.
He was hurt and missed a few ball games. He's back in there now. You got some of the 2nd unit players in there for the Iowa defense.
Zurbrugg complete to his tight end Nelson. Short of the 1st down, inside the 10, clock running at 45 seconds.
I'm going to stop it.
They call a timeout. A competitor like Schembechler and those other assistants over there, they want to avoid this shutout in the worst way right now.
Well, it's been a pretty good drive by Zurbrugg. He's done a nice job. Ran the ball, has also thrown quite well. Unfortunately, in the Michigan State game, when he was put into the ball game in the 4th period, when they were behind and Harbaugh had gotten hurt, Ream was in there, and then Zurbrugg came in. He threw 2 interceptions in that ball game. And of course, you know, you get a little shaky in there. You get a little nervous about throwing the football. But this particular drive may be of great assistance to Zurbrugg and the Michigan team, because confidence can be built just in a drive like this. And I'm sure he's pleased to see it, and I'm sure that Schembechler, as you have pointed out, would love to get the ball into the end zone to even further instill the confidence in young Zurbrugg.
Next week, he's got a tough game in Ann Arbor. Illinois will be up there. His loyal fans who flock to that stadium, they'll see another good quarterback next week. Jack Trudeau does a good job for Illinois. Of course, that was a classic encounter last year down in Champaign. The Fighting Illini beat everybody in the conference and battled their way out to the Rose Bowl. Ohio State definitely in the driver's seat, because if they continue to win, they would go to Pasadena. And we'll see that team next week against the Badgers of Wisconsin up in Madison. 43 seconds now. 3rd and 2. Zurbrugg going down at the 19. Number 57, John Breezy, led the way.
Well, the Iowa fans want that shutout. It's tough to do in college football today. To shut an opponent out.
That's rare for these folks to be beaten up on a Schembechler here in Iowa City.
Well, Bo's had his heyday. It's Hayden Fry's time to shine, and he's got a team that is deserving of it.
It is an excellent group. Nice group to be around, too.
It really was very cooperative. Been out here a couple of times, very friendly. He's a crafty guy, you know.
Yeah, it comes on like one of those old down-home.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, he knows what he's doing. He's been around.
The Iowa leader, one Hayden Fry. SMU, North Texas State.
You know, they both have been in coaching about the same number of years, and so you've got a lot of experience on both sides of the sideline.
Here it is. 4th down for the Wolverines. 30 seconds to go, and the Hawkeyes trying to get a shutout. Incomplete. Intended for Vince Bean. And a sea of yellow and black on its feet. Hayden Fry and the Iowa Hawkeyes have handed Michigan and Bo Schembechler its first shutout since 1977. And now the Hawkeyes will be in at least a tie for first place in the Big Ten. The Wolverines fall out. For Ara Parsegan, I'm Brent Musburger. We hope you've enjoyed the action here this afternoon from Iowa City. Let's send you back to New York now.